Hey there, it's DM's off. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you know when we upload new videos.
This is one of my newest books, Pirate Borg. Pick this up. Link is in the dungeon. And one of the oldest books that a friend has let me borrow is Deities and Demigods. This is the lawsuit book. I love the way books smell. It just makes me so happy. I love the way they sound. I love the way they feel. My cup of espresso and latte, no sugar, no flavoring. Well, I do take some flavoring. Just a little bit. The smell, the taste, and the touch. Here is an incense stick. This one's dragon's blood. I love the way things taste, smell, sound, all of these things, especially books. The idea of dice in your hands and rolling. Whether it's one or multiple dice at once. And it's a wonderful thing. It seems as though Wizards of the Coast wants to take you out of this. They have a lady who was from Microsoft and worked in the digital world, and they're trying to move Wizards of the Coast into this monetization or microtransaction sphere. So much so that you cannot buy a physical book off of Wizards of the Coast site anymore without getting your digital version as well. They're getting rid of physical books. They're wanting to go farther and farther away from there and pushing everybody towards D&D Beyond. D&D Beyond is cool. It has its perks, but I guess I'm just old. I love physical pages. I love physical paper, physical dice, not rolling on my desktop. I love not being in a virtual setting. And I guess that's because I'm older. But the more and more that the younger generation spends online, the more that this is not a big deal. And it is the wave of the future. But do I care? Should you care? I know there's people out there that have probably had friends online. Maybe you've been friends with them for years and years and years. But when you come together, finally, after maybe 3, 4, 5 years, even long distance relationships that have been in that situation, and you get around that person and you're within an actual close proximity, there's just something weird, something off. You know this person, but you don't really know them. I remember being taught about pheromones and chemicals that we emit when we're around people, the smells that we can pick up, even subconsciously, can, from an evolutionary standpoint, tell us whether someone is genuine and true without even hearing who they are. It's kind of where instinct comes from. And a lot of it comes through our nose. A lot of it comes through physical contact. There's a reason why we shake hands with one another, or at least fist bump. There are electrical charges that happen, etc. When I'm in the same room with my players, it is completely and unequivocally a different experience than when I play online. Now, I've only had a couple sessions online, and in fact, I'm planning on playing with a few of my friends online here in the near future. It probably won't be long term, and it definitely won't be weekly, but it'll be something out of necessity, just because of proximity. And I know a lot of you are in that same sort of situation. which is why a virtual tabletop and online gaming is a good surrogate, but it's not the game. Wizards of the Coast wants to turn D&D into a virtual tabletop RPG and moving away more from the realm of tabletop RPG. Now, they probably won't admit that because obviously a lot of their fan base are those that play physically, weekly, with their friends. But rest assured that their executives are actually pushing towards this virtual tabletop because of this microtransaction. Just a horrible thing that has been installed where people sometimes spend thousands of dollars a month, usually in the hundreds. Let's just call it a virtual cesspool that just wants to get your buck. I guess I have a strong opinion about it, and I don't even know if it matters. Who the hell am I? I'm just some guy on the internet. I know a couple of my viewers that actually have never played Dungeons and Dragons. Some that only play online, and others that only play in person. So when I play Skyrim, it's technically a video game, role-playing game. Video RPG. It is not a tabletop RPG. Not in the slightest. It may have similar math that's going on behind the screen, leveling systems, and even magic items. But it's not a tabletop RPG. Not in the slightest. Sitting down, face to face, rolling dice, getting Cheeto fingers all over your character sheet, laughing, carrying on, pouring someone a shot of whiskey, cheersing, drinking, handing someone physical cards. So you've watched games online, right? Like Critical Role or Dimension 20 or any of the others that are out there. Those that are actually playing live but then filming them have a totally different feel. And I'm not just talking personality, but they have a completely different feel than those that are playing virtually and they're all in their screens. And this is the number one thing that is wrong with the virtual tabletop and playing virtually. The latency issue. Being overly courteous and starting and stopping and somebody else is talking and you already have a thought, but you know that there's latency, maybe a second, even two in some cases, and there's issues there. That will eventually get worked out. I don't know how long that's going to take, but it'll eventually get worked out. Professor Dungeon Master thinks that there's going to be kind of a schism between those that play tabletop role-playing games and those that play virtual tabletop. If you move forward with 5e, you will more than likely, as he proposes, will probably have to move within that digital sphere. Probably with, at least with D&D Beyond and all of that. That's where money is made, so that is where they're going. Not much money in physical books. And let's be honest, D&D's books are shitty at best. The bindings fall apart and it's just not good. It doesn't have the love and the care that, say, an OSR book has. Here's old school essentials, referees, tome, ribbon markers, beautiful paper, stitch binding. So much love, so much care. Just beautiful, beautiful book. Sounds good. Smells good. Great to use at the table. I encourage you, if you're part of the tabletop community and want to see it continue, and you have access, go and support your brick and mortar gaming shop. Those of you that have never played, if it's a half-hour drive, it's a half-hour drive. If it's more, I understand. Gas is high these days. But go to a shop and play physical games with real people. Invite your friends. Invite your family. Play physical games on a physical tabletop with dice, paper, pencils, candles, real candlelight. Don't use LEDs. Use real candles. Get minis if you can afford them. If you can't, you can use beans or pennies. High five people. Hug people. Shake hands with people. And enjoy the game. I don't think Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson or all the other guys that were involved with the early days of Dungeons and Dragons ever imagined that we would have a virtual tabletop. It was just, this was how we played, was on a tabletop. Now it's becoming a weird crisis for some people, where you have to decide one way or the other, or at least part-time. if I'm going to do this half the time or whatever. There's positively, absolutely no comparison to actually sitting at a table and playing the game. In a day and age where mental illness is rampant, I think more than anything, we need to be physically together with people. I'm going to get off my soapbox. This was all just riffed out. I'm not sure how this video is going to end up. I did have a video a while back that was about the virtual tabletop and my ideas, and really I'm saying the same sort of things here, but it's coming up again because of what's happening with WOTC and them not selling only physical books anymore. Yeah, you can get it on Amazon or whatever, and probably other game stores, at least for now. But they're moving towards them and them only being the funnel through which they're getting your money. It'll be less and less options, and they will be the only option. If you want to play D&D, 5e or 1D&D or whatever the fuck they're going to call it. Which is why I urge you to buy books from smaller publishers. There's way better games out there. If you like 5e a lot, there are games that resemble 5e that will continue to make real books. I've got thousands of PDF games, but I still end up printing those off and putting them in a 3-ring binder if I'm going to use them. There is a convenience to it, but nothing beats a physical book. Nothing beats being physically in the same room with your players. Again, I understand. Whatever. There's always the comments, even though I say this, but yes, I know that there's people out there that can't get to other people or people that they can play with. So a virtual online thing is what works. But make the effort. Put in the time. Invite people over to your house. Go to gaming shops. Get together with people and play tabletop role-playing games. I'm jumping on the bandwagon with Professor Dungeon Master, and July is going to be Independent RPG month. So, yeah, I'm going to be reviewing some independent RPGs that are not WotC, not Paizo, not Kobold Press. So, hopefully you'll stick around, subscribe, and all that. And, yeah, make sure you get hooked up with our Discord. I've got a Patreon page. I've got an Instagram. All the links are in the dungeon. Thanks for stopping by Agranak Studios, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.
All right, do this and do that and do this and do that. And watch this video.